My sister-in-law tried to control my pregnancy and tampered with my medication. Now, she's in jail, and we're rebuilding our lives free from her chaos. I, 29, female, am expecting my first baby with my husband Luke, 29, male. Luke and I had been trying to start a family for what seemed like ages. It was a tough journey, full of waiting and trying and disappointment. After many doctor's appointments, tests, and feeling like we had exhausted every option, we finally received the news we had longed for. I was pregnant. It felt like a dream come true, but what should be a joyful moment for us has become a strange nightmare because of my sister-in-law, Lila, 34, female. Lila has had a tough time with relationships. She was married to Joe until a few years back. Then she had an affair with Joe's brother, which caused a messy divorce that shocked everyone. Lila seems surprisingly calm about it, while Joe took it very hard. He moved away, remarried, and has not looked back. Lila, however, has stayed single and still seems to hold on to Joe's memory, acting as if he's still a significant part of the family despite her past actions. When I announced my pregnancy, Lila was initially very excited and wanted to be involved. I thought she was just happy to be in on, which was nice, but soon her excitement turned odd. After I shared the news, she began suggesting baby names. At first, I thought it was normal family enthusiasm, but then I noticed that every name was a variation of Joe. They were not exactly Joe, but they clearly referenced him. She kept insisting that it would mean a lot to the family to honor him. I felt uneasy about it, especially given how things ended between her and Joe. Luke and I had already agreed not to name the baby after anyone in the family. We wanted something new and different, and when I tried to bring this up to Lila gently, she looked hurt and almost offended. She said she thought it would honor the family's history and be meaningful for everyone. I felt awkward, but remained polite, telling her we would choose the name ourselves. I thought that would be enough for her to understand, but it was not. Lila kept insisting, sending us baby name lists all tied to Joe. Even after I had set my limits, she would say things like, this would mean a lot to the family, or claim that Joe would be honored to have his name used. It was tiring. But I thought if I just ignored it, she would eventually drop it. That was a mistake. About a week ago, things got really concerning. I had a minor issue with my pregnancy, and my doctor gave me specific medication to help. It worked well, and I made sure to follow all the guidelines. One day, I mentioned to Lila that I was going to get a new prescription, and she offered to pick it up for me while she was out. I appreciated her help since it saved me a trip. The day after I took the medication, Lila picked up for me. I started feeling really unwell. I was dizzy, nauseous, and just felt off. I thought it might be a new pregnancy symptom, but my condition worsened, and I had to go to the ER. After some tests, the doctors found out that the medication was not what I was prescribed. It was a much stronger dose that was not safe during pregnancy. Initially, I assumed it was a pharmacy error. However, I could not shake the feeling that something was wrong. Since Lila was the one who got the medication, I called her to see if she noticed anything strange. Her answer shocked me. She joked at first, saying she chose a stronger dose on her own because she wanted me to pay for not choosing to name my baby after her ex, and she started laughing, but then she went on to say that she got a higher dose because she thought it would help me more. She said it so casually without any concern for the possible consequences. I was really angry. I ended up in the ER, and she did not seem to understand how serious her actions were. She claimed she just wanted to help. I told her what she did was illegal and dangerous, and it could have harmed me and my baby. Only then did she start to apologize, but it felt insincere. At that moment, I knew I had to take action. After talking it over with Luke, we decided to pursue legal action. We filed a police report, documented everything, and informed her that we were pressing charges for tampering with my medication. I felt this was the only way to make her realize how serious the situation was. The situation has definitely caused a big rift in the family. Lila is trying to present herself as the victim, saying she didn't know it would hurt me, but I cannot accept that. If she really cared about my health, she would not have changed my medication without telling me. Especially while I'm pregnant, some relatives believe we're being too extreme by involving the police, arguing that she was just trying to help. However, tampering with medication is serious, and good intentions do not excuse that. Now I'm feeling torn. I worry I might be overreacting, especially since some family members are upset with me and say it's damaging our family. Yet, I also feel that she crossed a serious boundary that cannot be overlooked. What she did could have harmed me or my baby. If I let this slide, it would feel like I'm allowing her to interfere in my life and put our safety at risk just because she thought she was helping. I dislike that it has come to this, but I feel like I have no choice. Maybe facing legal consequences will help her understand how serious her actions were. Still, I'm questioning everything, and I would really value some outside Reddit, either for taking legal action against my sister-in-law for tampering with my medication just because I refused to name my baby after her ex. Update 1. Hey, everyone, first, I want to thank you all for your concern about my health. It means a lot to me. I'm feeling much better now, thankfully, and my doctors have been keeping a close eye on me, and I'm back on my original prescription, which is safe for my pregnancy. I wanted to update you on my situation with my sister Lila, after I mentioned taking legal action against her for messing with my medication. Since my last update, things have changed in ways I did not expect. I was still processing what Lila had done while dealing with the fallout. Lila reached out to me. She called to apologize, saying she didn't mean for things to go that far and thought she was helping. At first, I wanted to trust her. I thought she might really feel sorry for messing with my medication, but just when I was ready to accept her apology, she said something that completely caught me off guard. In a dismissive way, she mentioned that I should see she only wanted to help. It felt fake, like she was trying to shift the blame instead of taking responsibility. That was not even the worst part. Soon after our talk, I started hearing rumors from other family members about what Lila had been saying. She was telling people that my baby was not Luke's. She claimed this was why I did not want to name the baby after a family member. I could not believe it. Not only was she trying to twist the story about her actions, but she was also involving my marriage and my child's paternity in this chaos. When I found out about this, I was overwhelmed with anger. Lila's lies were driving me crazy. I was trying to look out for myself and my unborn baby, and she was spreading lies to excuse her actions. I confronted her directly, asking why she made such an accusation. Instead of owning up to it, she brushed it off, saying it was a misunderstanding and that she did not mean it that way. This was difficult for me to accept. Lila often minimized her actions and shifted blame to others, and this felt like just another example. It seemed like she wanted to distract everyone from her careless behavior and make me look like the issue in the family. The manipulation was frustrating. I kept thinking about how I was trying to protect my child and have a healthy pregnancy, only for her to create doubts. After talking with Luke, we realized we needed to act. Luke contacted some relatives to explain the situation and said that Lila was spreading lies. We had to protect our child and clear up any misunderstandings about our family. The aftermath has been tough. Some family members have reached out to support us, while others have criticized us, saying we're creating unnecessary drama. It is really frustrating because they do not understand the full situation. This is not just about names or Lila's feelings. It's about keeping my child safe. I feel like I'm fighting on two fronts against Lila's manipulation and the misunderstandings in the family. As time passes, it is clear that Lila is not backing down. She's sticking to her story, trying to make herself look like the victim. I overheard her at a family event talking to others, saying I was being overdramatic. The more she twists the truth, the more determined I am to stand firm. I never thought I would have to confront a family member about something like this, especially during such a difficult time in my life. Lila's behavior has affected my relationships with other family members too. Some relatives are worried about how this will change our future gatherings and interactions. I understand they want to keep things calm, but at what price? Do I have to act like everything is okay while my sister-in-law makes false claims about my marriage and my child? I will not do that. I have talked to friends outside the family, and their advice has opened my eyes. Many have urged me to stay strong and keep track of everything Lila says, or does that could hurt my family. It is disturbing to realize how far she might go to make her point or twist the situation. Now I'm trying to focus on my pregnancy, but I cannot shake off the worry about Lila's actions. I know I'm right to protect my baby, but I'm also concerned about how this family conflict will affect my child in the long run. Will they hear negative stories about their aunt that could tarnish our family's image? I am really frustrated and tired. If things escalate too much, we might actually have to do something serious. Update 2. Hi everyone. It has been 6 months since my last update, and I have a lot to tell you about what has been going on in my life right now. I am on bed rest because my pregnancy has become risky. This means I need to stay in bed as much as I can and avoid stress. Unfortunately, my sister-in-law, Lila, is making it really hard for me to relax. I feel like I'm in a nightmare. This is a sensitive time for me, and I just want to focus on my health and preparing for our baby. Instead, I'm constantly worried about what Lila will say next. Luke has been incredible through all of this. He supports me every day and helps me feel safe. He sees how much this is affecting me and has tried to confront Lila about her actions. After months of watching me struggle, he finally decided he could not take it anymore. He and his parents called Lila to tell her to stop spreading lies. They warned her that if she did not, they would cut her off completely. We all hoped this would make her understand how serious it was and change her behavior. Unfortunately, it had the opposite effect. Lila refused to listen and instead made things worse. She acted like the victim, saying we were overreacting and that she was only trying to help, whatever that meant. It was hard to believe she could twist the truth like that, especially after her past actions. I knew I had to look out for myself and my baby, but it was draining. A few days later, Lila came to our house. I was resting in bed when I heard a loud banging on the front door. Luke answered, but before he could respond, she barged in. I was scared. She started shouting and accusing me of ruining the family. I was terrified and I realized how serious things had gotten. Luke quickly stepped in front of me, insisting she leave. I appreciated him stepping up, but it made me see how dangerous the situation was. After Lila finally left, I was terrified. I did not know what she might do next, and I hated feeling this way in my own home. After discussing it with Luke, we decided we needed to take strong action. We had to protect ourselves from Lila, and we agreed to seek a restraining order against her. This was something we never thought we would do. It felt drastic, but we could not ignore the reality anymore. We needed to ensure our safety, especially with the baby coming. Getting a restraining order is not easy. We needed to consult a lawyer who guided us on the steps to take. We began collecting evidence of Lila's behavior. It was hard to remember all the messed up things that she had done and said, but we knew it was important. We recorded every instance of her spreading lies and making threats. Meanwhile, my anxiety got worse. Being on bed rest gave me too much time to think, and I worried about how Lila's actions could affect our baby. I also considered how this might change our family relationships in the future. The thought of raising a child in such an unstable environment was scary. At the same time, Lila kept going. She continued to spread her awful rumors. I started hearing from other family members about what she was saying, which made me feel ill. I wanted to enjoy my pregnancy, but instead, I was caught up in this chaos. Luke did everything possible to protect me from the situation. He reached out to relatives to explain what was happening and to clarify any confusion. Some family members were supportive, while others were not. Some claimed we were creating too much drama by pursuing legal action and suggested we should just get along. I found this frustrating because they did not understand how serious Lila's behavior was. This was not just family gossip. It was about our well-being and safety. Lila's actions have impacted our relationships with other family members too. Some are concerned about how this will affect future family gatherings. I get that they want to maintain peace, but I cannot just act like everything is okay while Lila keeps spreading lies about us. I will not let her harmful behavior control our lives. I've also started confiding in friends outside the family about the situation. Their support has been invaluable. They encourage me to stay strong and keep a record of Lila's actions. They help me realize that I am not overreacting and that I have every right to protect my child. It's reassuring to have a support network beyond my family, especially when things feel so overwhelming. We are working on getting the restraining order, but I'm also trying to concentrate on my pregnancy. Now, I really hope we get the restraining order because having Lila in our lives is becoming a hazard for everyone. I will update you guys with the results. Update 3. Hey, everyone. It has been a few weeks since my last update, and I have a lot to tell you about what's been going on. We finally got the restraining order against Lila, which was such a relief. But before that, things got really scary, and I want to share that with you. Before we got the restraining order, Lila made a big mistake by emailing me. In her message, she threatened to hurt me and my baby if I went through with the restraining order. I was stunned. It was hard to believe that someone I thought of as family could say something so mean and threatening. It felt like she was trying to scare me into giving up. The email was full of accusations, saying I was the one ruining the family, and I could hardly believe what I was reading. Reading that email made me feel so weird. I felt scared and angry. How could she think it was okay to threaten me? It was tough not to let the anxiety take over. I kept worrying about how her threats could impact my pregnancy and my mental health. I could not let her control my life anymore, especially when I needed to focus on my health and getting ready for my baby. Luke was understandably angry when I showed him the email. He could not believe Lila would go this far. He immediately told me to keep it as evidence. He knew we had to take her threats seriously, so we started planning to talk to our lawyer. It was draining to deal with all of this while trying to stay positive during my pregnancy, but I knew I had to be strong for my baby. While we were working on the restraining order, I could not stop thinking about how much Lila's actions had changed. What started as a dumb argument had turned into real threats, and I felt really hurt. I had always seen her as family, but now she seemed like a stranger who wanted to harm us instead of helping. After some tough days, we finally went to court to file for the restraining order. I was anxious, but knew it was necessary. With the email as proof, I hoped the judge would see how serious our situation was. During the hearing, I shared everything that had happened from the mediation to the rumors to Lila's threats. I noticed the judge paying close attention and taking notes. When we got the restraining order, it felt like a huge relief. However, I understood this was just the beginning of a long journey. Even with the restraining order, I still feel uneasy. Lila had already shown how unpredictable she could be, and I worried she might try to reach out to me again, especially since her behavior had become so erratic. The idea of always looking over my shoulder is tiring. I want to enjoy my pregnancy, but instead, I'm filled with anxiety. Luke and I talked about how to proceed. We knew we needed to keep our distance from Lila, but we also wanted to avoid isolating ourselves from the rest of the family. It was a delicate situation. We realized we had to be careful about what we told our relatives. We did not want to involve them in the drama, but we also needed to protect ourselves. Since getting the restraining order, it has been a bit of a roller coaster. We have to think about how to handle future family events, especially since Lila knows how to twist situations to make herself look like the victim. Friends who still talk to her say that she's trying to gain sympathy, claiming we are overreacting and that I'm trying to turn everything against her. It frustrates me that she continues to spread lies about us. Whenever I hear from family about what Lila is saying, I feel anxious and upset. I just want to enjoy this time in my life without the drama. It is tough to stay focused when I know she's trying to stir up trouble. I have to remind myself that I'm not the issue here. I am doing my best to protect my family, and I will not let her control our lives any longer. Update 4. Hi everyone. It has been a few weeks since my last update, and I have a lot of updates to share. First off, we had our baby last month, and I could not be happier. Holding our little one made all the worries disappear, even if just for a moment. The joy of being a parent is beyond words, and we are so thankful for our healthy baby. We named him Neil, and he has already captured our hearts. However, despite the happiness of our new arrival, things took a troubling turn with my sister-in-law, Lila. As you might recall, we had previously obtained a restraining order against her due to her unpredictable behavior and threats towards me and our child. It felt good to have that legal protection, but I did not expect things to get worse. Not long after Neil was born, Lila showed up at our house unexpectedly. I was still recovering from giving birth and trying to adjust to being a new mom. Luke had stepped out for a quick errand, and I was at home with the baby. While I was in the nursery, calming Neil, I heard loud banging at the front door. At first, I thought it was someone else, but when I looked out the window, I was shocked to see Lila there, looking frantic, screaming and demanding to see her little Joe. She was literally screaming on top of her voice and saying, I was not letting her see her baby Joe, and that she would call Child Protective Services on us if I do not let her in. I was so scared. Last thing I needed was her showing up uninvited, and I had to protect my child, and I was panicking because of her. I quickly reached for my phone to call Luke, but before I could press send, I heard the door being pushed open. She had gotten in. I have no clue how, and I could hear her calling my name. In that moment, I felt utterly powerless. I knew I had to protect Neil, but I was still recovering from the delivery. I took a deep breath to keep myself calm. I chose to take Neil and go to the bedroom and shut the door behind me. I could hear Lila shouting. She sounded extremely angry. It was obvious she was not going to back down easily. I did not see any other way out, so I called 911. I told the operator what was happening and mentioning that Lila had a restraining order and that I was worried for my safety and my baby's safety. While I spoke, Lila kept on banging on the door, demanding to see Neil. It was frightening to realize how desperate she was to reach us. Luckily, the police arrived quickly, and I heard sirens approaching. I was relieved knowing help was coming. When the officers entered, they found Lila still trying to break into the room. They stepped in right away, pulling her back and attempting to calm her down. I finally opened the door after the officer assured me that Lila was being held down. I saw the officers talking to her, but I was too rattled to focus on what they were saying. I stayed in the bedroom holding Neil close, trying to comfort him because all that noise was making him cry. I felt awful that he had to witness such chaos as soon as his life began. The police were talking to Lila, trying to understand why she had come to our home and what her intentions were. Lila's situation turned out to be worse than I expected. The police told me her neighbors had reported her for trespassing multiple times. She'd been acting strangely, trying to get into their homes and causing trouble. The officers also found out she had several unpaid tickets and had been arrested for drunk driving just 2 weeks before she came to our house. It was shocking to learn how troubled she was. The police took Lila into custody for breaking the restraining order. They said it was serious, especially with her recent behavior. Once the officers left with Lila, I finally felt safe enough to breathe again. Luke arrived soon after, and he was visibly worried. When he saw the police cars outside, he rushed in to find me and Neil. As soon as he walked in, I felt a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. I explained everything that had happened. Luke was furious that Lila had come to our home, but he was thankful the police have taken care of it. Now we've taken steps to improve our security. We've added more locks to the doors and installed a security camera outside. I wanted to make sure we were safe from any more incidents. News of what happened spread quickly, and soon family members reached out to check on us. I felt grateful for those who supported us during this tough time, offering their help and encouragement. However, it was hard to ignore Lila's ongoing attempts to gain sympathy as she began seeking sympathy from anyone willing to listen. She changed the story, making herself seem like a misunderstood family member who just wanted to see her nephew. Some friends who had pulled away but still kept in touch said Lila insisted we were overreacting and making her life hard, casting herself as a victim. She conveniently missed out on the threats she had made and the serious issues that led to the restraining order. Her attempts for attention grew more desperate as the truth came to light. We learned this was not her first trouble with the law. After her arrest, we found out Lila had a much bigger criminal history than we thought. She had been involved in multiple theft and fraud cases over the years, issues that family members had kept quiet to avoid shame. Discovering this was shocking, especially as Luke and I realized how much she had lied to us. It made us question how much of what we believed about her was true. Her efforts to seek sympathy started to fail as more family members and friends learned about her past crimes. The compassion she wanted turned into judgment and disappointment from almost everyone around her. Realizing she had crossed many lines and put her family at risk for her own pride, most people decided they were done with her. They understood that the situation was much worse than she had claimed, and her lies fell apart as her criminal record and erratic actions became known. Now with Lila back in jail due to her latest offenses, she's cut off from most of the family. After years of giving her chances, those close to her finally see her true self. Luke and I feel a sense of peace knowing she's out of our lives for good this time. We have made it clear that we will not allow any more contact or give her another opportunity to manipulate or hurt us. The whole situation has been tough, but knowing we can move on with our lives, free from her manipulation and chaos, is a huge relief. We have taken steps to protect ourselves and, most importantly, our baby from any future drama she might try to create. For the first time in what feels like ages, we can fully focus on our family and our children.